Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sustain and Manage podcast. It's your host, Mikhail Wasti. As usual on this podcast, I seek to expand my limited knowledge on various sustainable development goals, whilst also discovering how they can tie in with enterprise management concepts. Today, we will tackle the second SGD concerning zero hunger and try to unveil the relationship that it has with businesses and what businesses are. We will start out with a quick description of today's concepts, and then we will bring on our expert guests to really expand our understanding. Speaking of guests, on today's episode, we have the honor to be joined by Eve Murphy-Baudet, Brendan Stoyanowski-Campbell, and Jackson Smith. These experts will share their valuable insights and knowledge on today's subject and enlighten us all on the underlying connection in the aforementioned topics.
We have proven that we are able to take concrete, tangible measures that help people on the ground.
821 million people don't know where their next meal is coming from.
More than 26 million children under the age of 5 suffer from malnutrition worldwide.
A 17-point rescue plan for ending or at least diminishing the greatest threats facing the greatest number of people on this planet.
Excellencies, the SDGs need a global rescue plan.
The SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals, are made up of 17 targets.
We keep doing so with the SDGs as our guiding light.
First of all, let us explain what a business is and today's selected SGD goal. So our quick definitions are: a business provides services and goods to the population to make profits and to increase quality of life. And SGD Goal 2, Zero Hunger, is a goal that works towards eliminating world hunger and allowing everyone to have equal access to food. It also implies agricultural investments for easy access to food. Now let's welcome our first guest, Eve. Greetings, Eve. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing terrific, thank you. Today we have some questions for you regarding the link between the principles of a business and today's SGD of choice, zero hunger. Firstly, what can you tell us about businesses and how they can be used in the context of SGDs?
Businesses are a key element for good quality of life for everyone. They provide goods and services to the population, thus making them happy. We can use the infrastructures and business resources we are blessed with to aid and supply those who are in need. Any company, small, big, public, or private, also has a large impact on world hunger and the second Sustainable Development Goal, zero hunger. These businesses are a large factor in the economy, which then affects the rising costs and the decreasing production of food, meaning that fewer people can eat a healthy amount daily. Businesses affect this worldwide challenge of hunger in many ways, but this goal could be achieved by 2030 only with the support of these same businesses.
Okay, that makes sense. So Eve, tell us, how can we use our resources to target zero hunger specifically? What can you tell us about the relationship between businesses and zero hunger?
Businesses, by definition, could aid in reaching the goal of zero hunger in the world. They provide goods and services to increase the quality of life and the standard of living of the population, as I have previously said, thus creating many opportunities for them to have an impact on the world. For example, businesses can support and invest in agricultural sources in their processes. They can minimize their food waste and use their products responsibly, and they can also promote the accomplishment of this goal and cooperate with others to share the important message of the zero hunger goal. Any of these options could help to increase food production, lower food prices, and make food easily accessible to many more people in the world. Regarding the impact of businesses on this Sustainable Development Goal, a pledge called the Zero Hunger Private Sector Pledge has gained the support of at least 40 different private businesses to aid in the attainment of these Sustainable Development Goals, including zero hunger. Businesses are necessary to accomplish this worldwide goal, and this is only the beginning.
Eve, thank you so much. That is fantastic information for the viewers and I. Thank you very much for your time today.
Not a worry at all. It was a pleasure to be on here today.
Now, I don't know about you guys in the audience, but I'm wondering, what effects do businesses have on world hunger? And to answer that, we have our second expert guest of the day, Brendan. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, Mikhail. Now let's tackle that question you have. That's a great question, actually. Businesses have a massive effect on world hunger, and that's just because no matter what kind of food it is, there are plenty of businesses that are a part of the process of getting food to consumers. Whether it's fresh produce that'll only last a couple of weeks or canned food that'll last 2 years. And even though every business that's part of this chain does their best to minimize food waste so they can maximize their profits, there are just some things that they can't avoid, like products getting damaged while they're being packaged, or the food that doesn't get sold at grocery stores reaching its expiration date, so they just have to discard it. The product that these businesses are selling also need to meet a certain quality standard so that they can sell it, and unfortunately, there's a lot of food that just doesn't meet these standards, so a lot of food intentionally gets discarded along the way too. But there is some positive ways that businesses have an effect on world hunger. Like, there are plenty of businesses who make it their goal to make food more accessible to everybody, and they aim to do this by innovating new ways to produce food more sustainably and affordably, just to ensure that everybody can have access to the food that they need. So the food waste of businesses actually has a huge impact on world hunger, and that's just because of the sheer amount of food that's being wasted. Despite their best efforts to minimize food waste, nearly 58% of all food that's produced in Canada is wasted due to it not meeting the standards that I mentioned before. And not only that, it's estimated that over a third of that waste could actually have been salvaged. And even though it's not quite high enough quality to be sold on shelves to consumers, it is still edible, so there's no reason that they wouldn't be able to donate it to places like food shelters, and they'd be able to give that food to people in need.
That's a perfect answer, Brendan. Thank you so much for the information today. Now we will be moving on to our final guest for today, Jackson. Jackson's going to help us understand how a corporation's structure and its resources, outreach, and capabilities contribute meaningfully to the Zero Hunger goal. How is it going today, Jackson?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
Absolutely perfect, Jackson. What can you share with us today?
By reducing their food waste and improving the distribution of food products, corporations can reform their supply chains to be more sustainable and efficient. This could be done through investing in technologies that can prolong the time food can spend on shelves so that the food, perhaps in food banks, can stay fresh for longer and allows for less food waste. By altering their logistics, a corporation can ensure that less food gets spilled, spoiled, and damaged during transportation and storing of the foods. For example, Walmart has always been improving their supply chain, and in doing so, less time is spent doing inventory and processing their goods, and more time is allowed before foods go bad on their shelves.
Okay, I see what you mean there. So to end off, could you just discuss a corporate initiative or a program that has made a measurable difference in food security or nutrition?
Yes, PepsiCo, alongside the World Food Program, has created an initiative that focuses on enhancing nutritional outcomes and addressing the food insecurity in underserved communities across the world, called Food for Good. PepsiCo is able to use their expertise of food and beverage product creation to create nutritional products that meet the needs of the target populations, which are countries and areas in poverty. Such foods contain all the necessary minerals and vitamins to address nutritional deficiencies. As well, Food for Good helps to implement school feeding programs in developing countries so that no child goes hungry on their watch. As stated by the World Food Program, PepsiCo has given them a $250,000 grant, which would enable WFP to expand its ongoing resilience building program in Iraq that strives to help rural communities become self-reliant and withstand shocks such as climate change. Overall, PepsiCo's contribution to fighting zero hunger is a prime example of how a corporation can make a difference in food security or nutrition.
That's awesome, Jackson. We thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the podcast today.
So unfortunately, guys, that's all the time we have for today. I very much hope that you all got something useful to take home and ponder. Keep sending us your suggestions for topics and what to do next, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.